Alright, yo, what's up, guys? So, I'm Sport. I just wanted to come on here and do this track breakdown for my new song, Where Were You? It's out now if you haven't heard it. I'll play it here in a minute, but yeah, this is going to be my first full-length breakdown video. I've been wanting to do one of these for a while now. So yeah, I don't have anything planned. I'm just going to go through the project, and if there's anything you want to see that I didn't cover, put it in the comments. So if you haven't heard the track yet, go listen to it, but I'll play here from the build really quick. Yeah, so a lot to cover here, a lot of beefy sounds in here, but I'm just going to start with the intro and work chronologically, I think. So let's open up the group here. Start diving into these sounds. So first here, kind of creeping in is some pads. The vocals, got the thunderstorm vibe going. I think this is a different one here. And then to start things off, I have this Reese that is just, I think it's holding a D. Yep, and that's just going to be slowly opening up the whole way for that first 8 bars. And then the vocals, I'm just starting to tease. On the vocal, yeah, a bit of echo and reverb, giving it the space. And then also, this is actually the old version of my clean space rack. I used to call it the Sport Vox sidechain rack, but yeah, basically what it does is it ducks the volume of the wet signal when the dry signal is happening. So you see that's the shape of this vocal, and I have a dry and wet signal. And it really helps with your mix downs. The new version that's on my Gumroad uses an envelope follower instead of a compressor. It makes it easier because with the compressor you had to route like the track to itself for it to work, but with the envelope follower you just throw it on and it works. Alright, so after 8 bars we got this impact. As well as I'm starting to tease the... My cat's going crazy. I'm starting to tease the drop bass a little bit, so it's just this. And I think, yeah, this whole group has a bunch of reverb on it, because then the next time around it has both of the basses. And then in the build, so that it was just 1, and then it was 2, and then for the build I have 3 of the sound. And then, of course, in the drop, which we'll get to, is the whole thing. Alright, so now we're 8 bars before the build, and I continue to just build tension here. We got this tonal riser that's going to start. It's a very screechy one. This, I call it the hex build. It's like a hex cougar sample that I repeated like a billion times and pitched up. Now I put this in triplets because the drop is in triplets, so it helps to start implementing like a triplet element super early on. That's pretty much it. Then, alright, so let's go over the build now. We'll do the drums first. Alright, let's see what we got here. This OS kick. Absolutely love this kick. I use it a lot. This was actually the drop kick for my song Echoes. So that's just going to keep repeating, nothing too fancy there. And then actually, I use a huge kick for like the pre-drop, this tape kick, and then also with this also massive kick that I made. This one's actually in my sample pack that I'm going to be releasing soon. Then, you know, a typical impact and a snare build. getting more and more reverb and also pitching up with shifter. Slightly taking away the highs at the very end. And then what is this guy? It's a stadium clap. So this is what's giving it all the space. And then for the pre-drop, I also have it again there. That with these rides is honestly so nice. Just like, get ready, you know. Yeah, so the drums, super simple build drums. Then this is in the sample section here for the actual pre-drop. Have some like, what is this? So I have my impact here. Another mini riser. White noise impact. Company sample tape stop. And then this super cool like machine sound I got from Splice. You can see for most of these like I'm group cutting the lows, and honestly they all sounded fine. They didn't need really any fine tweaking. So then as we keep going down, same samples as the intro, just with a big riser, the hex build that I showed, and a couple other risers. This Sultan sample is honestly cracked. It's like a sweep. It's a sweep, but it spans like so much of the spectrum. Like without this, it really does a lot to sweep things down. So I love using that one. And just an exhaust out. So the tensions, the atmospheres start to fade away here. Then the Reese is playing a different rhythm here. I should have showed the Reese earlier, but it goes. It's a very eerie progression, I think, and it's just slowly being opened up the whole way. And then it actually doesn't repeat, it goes to something else here. That's so typical of me. I love going A sharp to A in D minor. It sounds so good. And then for the build, it's just the first three. It's just going to be building and holding there, and then it gets cut off. So
Click, clack, this back with a full clip.
That was actually the old pre-drop before I found these vocals. But yeah, for the build, the vocals are just going to play one time here, then repeat, and then it's just going to be the pre-drop.
Where did you go?
Alright, and so the drop vocals, let's see what I have on here. So I'm doing some saturation, EQ, reverb, or no reverb actually, but then I also got the sidechain rack again, giving it some space. And what's really doing a lot here is this vocal rack I made a while ago. Kind of making it a little bit dispersory. Now I don't have disperser, but this is kind of a cool trick in Ableton. If you duplicate, this is only 4 of them, but if you duplicate a bunch of EQ3s, it sounds like a similar effect to disperser. And then this frequency shifter just on 3%. So I think the pre-drop carries energy pretty well because I have the vocal, obviously, this group of samples here that I showed earlier, and then like doing the ride loop with the clap also. If we listen like without even just these samples, it's gonna be so much emptier. So that, or it's just constantly sweeping you right into the drop the whole time, which helps. And then I'll get into this, but I actually repeat them here because the drop has like a little Alright, so we made it to the drop. Let's start with the drums, obviously. When I start my songs, I always start with drums. I usually have like some kind of melody idea or something in my head, but I don't know, I just have to start with the drums. That's just how it is for me.
Sport mode.
Alright, yeah, so pretty standard drums here. Let's see what we got. So, yes, the Aiko kick, of course. We use this in our song Genesis, and yeah, Aiko definitely made this kick. Sure, yep. Snare is a couple layers here. It's this F-in snare, and this one from Splice. Very snappy, super simple kick snare pattern. Oh yeah, honestly, because the basses are doing a lot, it's like it's better to have a simple drum pattern if your other elements are going crazy. Then the perks group. Yeah, so we just have a couple of ride loops and then this crash. That'll repeat the whole time, I think. And then in the samples group, it's just going to be like sweeps. I like to do a lot of these. Dude, this is literally like one of the first samples I ever made. This Perfect White Impact. It's actually going to be in my sample pack. And I use it in every song just for little, like just to sweep back into the kick in this case. And then like, let's see here.
Sport mode.
Just for little stuff like that. Honestly, like if we listen, what was this one? So that's without and then with. Just helps to suck you right back in. Gives you that good suck. What? Let's see here. So, okay, so now we're going to start to get into the interesting stuff. I have all my basses in this synths group. And yeah, let's just start going through them. I should go chronological here. So the first thing you hear in the drop is going to be these mid basses, which sound like this. So there's a bunch here. Got my Echoes bass for my song Echoes. Just a little bit of it. Adding, I think, a bit of grit with this one. And I'm peaking something here. That's 870, so that's almost an A. I think because like the drop notes are an A, so I just wanted to accentuate that a little bit. And then, yeah, honestly, like this pre-drop came together just from random Splice samples plus my sounds, and it just kind of happened. See, this one looks, yeah, this one's super stretched out. What a cool sound though. And then this Leatrix downbeat sound, huge. And then this glitch that I made a while ago. Yeah, nothing like crazy processing wise on these. They all sounded good. As is, it's just kind of fitting them all together in the group. Yeah, a little bit of glue compressor. And some multiband compression, and that was it. This is just a little, you got like a nice little low end and high end fill there. Anything else? Yeah, and then a couple more. This is like a OTT tail from putting like a bunch of OTTs on a sound. It sounded cool, so I put it there. And then, yeah, just like another small little riser that just helps a little. You could definitely hear that. It's honest, like that makes the world of a difference. Just brings you right back in. So before we look at the basses, I want to highlight this. If you make music that's kind of like this, where you have, you know, your chorus, your verse, whatever, doing like a little cut of it and just repeating it for the drop, obviously not that part, but like this part from the vocal, I've been doing this in all my songs, and it just helps bring a bit of atmosphere back. Like if this was off and it was only the basses, yeah, it's still fat, but like you just hear that. I don't know. It adds a nice atmosphere to everything. It kind of grounds you back to the whole vibe of the song. So I think we're finally getting ready to get into the beef of the song, the gun basses here. So one thing that I think is really important is when you have a sound that's repeating like this. So I'm repeating the same phrase of the gunshots 3 times, but each time it sounds a little different. So it's literally the same sounds. So the first time around, it's like, I call this one the bass model, right? The second time around, I've made all the notes much more staccato, and I've added this laser a little bit off grid. Same thing with the sub here, a little shorter for the sub. And the last time around is, what happens is I've added in Serum on the bass, or on the sub, LFO1 to the master tune, so this is giving it a bit of pitch bend. So it's like, so you see it's like literally the same note, but each time just a little different. And I think that helps make it really, or keep it really interesting. And it's really important if you have something that's repeating like this, because if I just repeated this, you know, copy paste, whatever, however many times, it would have gone pretty old. So let's go ahead and start looking at these basses. So the first layer is actually just the vocal from, you know, the vocal I'm using in the rest of the song. And I'm just making it louder pretty much with these racks. So it's the sidechain rack and then the vocal rack. And then, so this bass, oh my God, look at this. This bass gave me so much trouble. It was so weird. Whenever I listened to this song, like on my phone speakers, it would do like the pre-drop, right? And then it would go into this, and it sounded out of key for some reason. It was this sample. So it says D minor. It's just a sample from Splice. It says D minor, but there were a couple of peaks in here that were out of key, and it sounded so weird. So I'm just taking those out here, and then bringing out that. This should be at 880 because that's A. So yeah, the song plays like bam bam choo ba 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 ba, and that the ones that stay is an A note. So I'm just bringing that peak out a little. Yeah, this is the same sample, just -12. And I think I was talking about this earlier, the poor man's disperser. It's just EQ's 3's duplicated. Gives it that whoa, 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 little disperser sound. And then another gunshot layer. And then to accentuate the quarter notes, this note playing a D, I think it's playing a D. No, it's actually playing an A. So the same note as all of these sounds, just a Tracy sample. Tracy's fucking cracked, dude, and he puts out these monthly sample packs for free. It's awesome. Yeah, nothing crazy there, just some compressed room and a bit of EQ. So, oh, there's one more layer. This is a oversampled sound, I think. Oh yeah, I love this sound. What's so this is, I think, an A, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't even have to pitch this one. What's interesting about this one is it's playing, if we look at the EQ right here. So that's playing both an A. It's playing both an A and an A sharp, but that, like, they're both those notes are in key for D minor, which is the key of the song, so it just works. Sounds so good. Yeah, then the same thing here as all the other sounds. Staccato second time, and then back to full open. So that is the gunshots, and then I kind of already showed off the sub, but let's go layer by layer. So the first one, Yeah, honestly, this is fatter than I would usually make my sub. It just worked in this case, but I usually get rid of all of that because I like a clean, like the muddy frequencies. I like to keep those super clean. And then we have this white noise layer. Same thing here. And then this layer with a bit of redux. Yeah, so I got the redux peaking at the A note. So the sub is in D. The sub is playing a D, right? But this is like +7 off a D, the A. So I don't know, that sounded pretty good to me. And then we'll get into the second part, but yeah. It's just gonna be bigger notes. Oh, I guess I forgot to mention for the pre-drop, I also had a little, just like a sub-drop preset I made a long time ago, and it's just dropping really quick. Let me show that really quick. So it gives you a little yeah, and then I already showed the vocal layer, and that's pretty much it. So this song is doing a bit of call and response here with these drop basses. And that, So this is gonna be this group. That is a lot of layers. Let's go through them. Chime bass. This bass in D that I made a long time ago, I think. What does this actually sound like? I don't know, but it's kind of cool. Threw it in there. Let's see, it got... I'm actually not using this. I think it was just too big. Neuro Reese rack. Then... Oh, no, so this is like a Reese rack that I like to use. So I just resampled that, and it literally just sounds like white noise with a little bit of tonality because I'm vocoding it from this chime bass. So if I turn this all the way up, it sounds like that first sound, but without it, or with it very low. It's like a white noise with just a touch of tonality. And then white noise, the middle one. Oh, the middle one, it sounds like it's down an octave, but really I just had scrolled through the... See, now it sounds the same. I just scrolled through the sample to the very earlier part of it. See, it's a really long sweep. I don't know, just to give it a little variation. And then again, our song vocal is making another appearance with the saturator just cranked. And all together with a bit of glue compressor, you got this. So that's gonna repeat, and then the second time around. So got this auto pan effect by using just a utility on the last note, and also the vocal note is different here. So that is your response. And I think this is just a laser. Yeah, a little laser going back and forth. So let's listen again.
Sprint mode.
Okay, so we got a couple of fills here. And then this, so that is a 4-bar phrase. The second time, it's pretty much the same, except I've added this like very detuned, super high octave saw layer. And that fills it up really nicely for the second time around.
Sprint mode.
Now I think we're ready to look at the second part, but first is this Reese. So it's going up and then back down to the D, I think. So a bit of processing here. Splitting up the mono and the wide signal. Yeah. When this happens again here, I actually extend it. And in the second half of it, I add a little bit of shifter, which is giving it that phasey sound, and then also some auto pan. I could really show you what this does if I could just crank it with and without. So yeah, it adds that phasiness to it. I think I've showed that off before in a different breakdown, but yeah, I love using this shifter trick. And that will kind of put us into the second part of this drop. So I omit the kick here because I just have this Reese sweeping us back in. And now we've changed patterns from those really fast triplets to much slower ones. Other than that rhythm change, like the drum stayed the same, and the response, so we had the call and response, the response is completely identical. So it's literally just making these notes slower and making the sub longer here as well. So it's like, first of all, and the second time. Oh, and this just right before the hit is just, again, that sub drop that I used right there. So same thing here. Yeah, so you got the sub drop. And then, yeah, for that last part, I went up to, I think this is a D sharp, yep. Just, I don't know, I kind of like going out of key. I do that a lot. I go just like one up or one down out of key, and it makes it sound, I don't know, it just gives it some tension, which I like. A couple of fills here that I guess I missed. This is from a song Awakening that I never released, and I probably never will. But I made a lot of fills in that song, so. Actually, a bunch of these fills are going to be in my sample pack, so they didn't go completely to waste. See, have I went over this? Yeah, it's the Reese. So let me actually just play the second part of the drop here. Play from here. Alright, so we're about to go into drop 2. For that transition, instead of keeping this vocal in the vocal group all the way down here, I just threw it up here because I really like this extreme processing. So that's got a giant reverb throw on it to bring you in. And then what I did was I put the vocal in granulator, and I just like made it hold this note. So I resampled that, and then I used, I think, just a clip envelope, transposition to go up 5 semitones. So we got this now. And that'll bring us into drop 2 just to get some variation between the builds. But other than that, like, it's, again, super simple drums, like a kick and some snares, and then some risers. And then the only other thing that's different, I think, is I have this like snare roll going on here, which I'm just going back down in pitch. Yeah, I grabbed one of these and just made that really quick. It's just gonna be this. For the pre-drop, I just kind of glitched it out a little with some chops. And I think I have more of this vocal rack, giving it that, making it quite wet. Same thing here with the sub thing. And then, so this second drop is like a much slower rhythm. It's just quarter notes now, I think. You see there, I'm accentuating that pitch bend again. in that second part. And also we're going up to a D sharp. That's kind of the flow for this drop, is just like quarter notes going up a semitone every now and then back down. So the bass is, it's all the same sounds, just like I said, different rhythm. So let's play the group here. I do still go back to that triplet chop from the first drop every now and then. And then also for this, I guess, B section, it's the same as the first drop. I think this is new. Yeah, okay, so this is new in this drop. It's just a Airwomp preset I made ages ago. Trying to accentuate that quarter note rhythm. Yeah, and so all of these samples are going to do that pitch up one thing.
Squad mode.
And that is pretty much drop 2. It just repeats. The one other big variation, I guess, is the Reese fill. So now we're going to be going, like, this automation is just different. So the first time around it was like this. This time it's a lot more like bum bum. Like, it's less of a transition and more immediate. We go all the way up, and then this time I go up instead of down for that, like, halfway point thing. And then the same thing there.
Squad mode.
I guess also I should mention that I have this vocal here. I think it's like from a YouTube acapella, to just delay the drop from hitting where it did hit in drop 1 to just giving it that extra, like, bit of suspense, little moment of suspense, so the kick waits until this 90.2 mark.
Let me show you.
And this is an acapella from YouTube, pitched left and right, and then with the vocal rack on it.
Let me show you.
It's nothing.
Let me show you.
I don't know, it just makes it a little juicier. So that's pretty much it for drop 2, I think. Alright, so for this, like, little transition, I just cut the kick here. I'm using a different kick for this breakdown, just because that one's, like, very, just a drop kick, you know, and this one's a lot cleaner. So it's the same drums, or actually it's less drums. And then I'm bringing back, like, the intro. The intro atmosphere is right. And then we got this group here, which is playing, like, a new melody that hasn't been in the song yet. So all the while we have the same intro Reese, right? And then the vocals again. Yeah, and then this is a pretty cool sound. It's like super reverbed. So I have that call and I have this response. Right, so I'm just creating, like, a pretty massive atmosphere here. This one's just holding notes. It's just like a distorted sine or something. And then, yeah, we got some chords coming in here. Or this is a piano, I believe. No. What is this? Strings. Cool. Love strings. So this is like I guess I should mention, if you haven't heard it yet, but the last drop is going to be a melodic drop. So we're bringing in the chords for the drop here very slowly. Piano. And the saw layer. And then put the vocal in granulator just to hold this note. See that? I don't know, it adds nice tension to it. So that's just going to be slowly growing here with these background risers and stuff till we get to the last drop buildup here, which is a lot of the same, I think. Yeah, literally the same buildup. What's different is obviously we have all the melodic elements now, and then the vocal, instead of repeating the go go go, just gonna be actually saying the words. Where did you go? Where did you go? Yeah, so let's play the whole build up here. Where did you go? Where did you go? You always told me, please. So there's our third melodic drop. So, like, the piano, the strings, and the saw, they're all kind of getting closed here. And then open back up. I was pretty happy with this last drop. I think it sounds really full. I'll go ahead and play it for a second here. Nice. So yeah, let's look at these drop layers. Yeah, so I mean that's just like, that's a super full and wide sound. And the point I want to make here when I show these layers is there is one super saw layer. That's it. The rest is other stuff. And I'm saying that because I think for me, at least early on, when I was doing like a melodic drop, I thought you needed like 6 or 7 saw layers. And not that that's wrong. Some people do that and that works. But what I found to work better for me is to use one big saw layer and then a bunch of other different sounding instruments to help fill it out. So let's start going through these. The first one here. I don't want to unfreeze this because my PC might explode. But this is kind of like a saw, but it sounds more organic. Then I have just a Labs piano going 22 to the right. Give it some width. Or sorry, I said piano. This is a string. And then the saw. And then this sample that I've been using. A lot of reverb on this one to make it wide, and a bit of EQ for that like mid-range. This is that same granulator layer that's just holding this note from the vocal. So right here. Yeah, so as you can see, it's fully open, some compression, a lot of reverb, and then EQs to tame it a little bit. Then I got 2 lead layers. All right, another important point for doing melodic stuff is to make your leads play different notes. So this one goes down, this one goes up. What do we do here? Let's see. So from A to G, or whoops, A to G, and then E to F together. And then here. Yeah, that's that A sharp to A that I love that I was talking about earlier. And this one's doing D to G. Yeah, man. So doing like two, basically two melodies. One is like the main one, obviously. Like this top one is clearly the main melody. But having another one playing different notes, it helps fill it out and gives it more emotion, I think. So if this was just repeated like this. It's just so much thinner when they're repeated, but when you have them doing different notes. Dude, that's lame. So that's like super important. Just do different notes in your lead layers. So that's like what you would call the saw stack, right? It's like all of the upper elements. As for group processing, super simple. Compression, camel crusher, EQ, slight boost to the highs, and this filter was just from like the build. So that's pretty full, right? Before I go to the mid basses, I just forgot to show the drums. So again, this the white noise sweeps that I showed earlier, and then the drums are similar to the first two drops, although now it's, I don't know, a little more. And then for the second 8 bars, the fast hats come in. So that's these guys. They're very wide, and they're not really on grid, but I don't know, I made these a long time ago, and I throw them in melodic drops for the second part. Helps, like, I don't know, it's like a little sizzle layer. Could hear him kind of tickling on the outside. All right, I want to sit back down. Mid bass is next. Just go layer by layer here. So init bass, literally just it's like the init patch and then a saw. I did turn the fine knob up just to 18. I don't know, I think it sounds a little grittier that way. It's so barely noticeable, but it adds a little bit of eeriness, I guess. And then for processing, it's a lot, honestly. This is like an old rack I have that I was trying to mimic a Himanu mid bass because his mid basses are crazy. And then I just saved it as a rack because I thought it's like a good mid bass filler layer. So without it, just sounds like a Reese. With it gets a lot crunchier and a lot wider. The next layer we have here is a good mid bass that Avello sent me a while ago. I use this one pretty often for melodic stuff. And then again, man, I'm telling you, dude, if you write in D minor, A sharp to A is literally aim assist. Like, it just sounds so good. To finish off a phrase like that, like, I don't know, I love it, man. And then the last one is just a Reese rack. See, I'm just taking, like, if I turn this off, like, it's actually a giant Reese, but I'm just taking these mids. This is probably something I added really late on, just because I realized I needed to fill this frequency range out a little bit. But you can see this one's much wider, and then this one is like the widest. It's very top end present, and you can see I don't even need the lows from this first one because I'm getting it from these other two. So if we play them all together, and if we play that with the stacks, the synths, see, yeah, it's pretty full already. And then you add in the sub layers, which is the same main sub from drops 1 and 2. Again, the top layer, so together, and then the stack all together. Yeah, notice how the top synths sit like super wide, even the leads. The mid bass is more here, and the sub obviously is mono right dead in the middle. And then similarly to the other two drops, I have a vocal repeating from the drop, or from the pre-drop. As well as this one, which you could barely hear, but just adding a bit of atmosphere. In the second half, the vocal will start to actually say words again. You could see here, you could really see what the vocal sidechain rack does on this one. See, like as soon as it's done, it just turns into this beautiful vocal atmosphere from the reverb and the delay. But yeah, like I said, this is the old version of the rack. The new one that's on my site is much better. It has a lot more knobs for. Let me just show it off really quick. Quick little ad break. Why not turn this one off for now? So I have a few presets here. And what you could do is open up this dry chain to see what it's actually doing, similarly to the compressor. Yeah, this one has, in the wet signal, it has a delay and also a grain delay, but you could turn off the grain delay if you don't like it. The last thing to cover is the fills, obviously. So let's see where those are. So this guy is just gonna do a little bit of volume automation here. And then so those are going to be similar to these from the drops 1 and 2. Just slightly rearranged for drop 3. So let's see those. I think this one's new. It's like a wub sound. Saturating it quite a bit. Fresh air, multiband, and some EQ. I think this one's also new for this drop. That one is from the first drop. See, we have one of my glitches here. Some fills I have from Awakening that I was talking about earlier. But yeah, that's honestly, I think that's it. And then one more time, you could really tell with this one is that white noise lead-in thing. Really doing a lot here. One other fill variation is just this snare triplet pattern, and then that's pretty much it. Then we just have the outro, so I got some of the intro elements back in, and then we're just gonna finish things off with a nice little piano outro. Notice here how I mess with both the velocities and like how soon the note starts playing to make it just a little more realistic. This part, just like little tiny notes like this one, and then the super faint D just to close things off for our root note. And that's it. That's the song. Yeah, let's run it back quick from drop 1.
Sprint mode.
awesome. Hope someone found this video helpful. I'm going to start making these kinds of videos for all of my upcoming releases. For me starting out, I loved watching like just track breakdowns from producers. It really helped me get started. So I feel like, yeah, it'd be cool to start doing these videos. I really like to do them. It's like, I don't know, I learned too, and I just like to do this kind of thing. So, subscribe if you want to see more breakdowns in the future. If you like this kind of sound, my next few releases are all going to be pretty like heavy trap kind of stuff. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next time.